The following moments may contain explicit language. Viewer discretion is advised.
Greetings and welcome to the Sunday edition of The Enemy from Within. Today I watched 4 Sunday Network's news shows so you don't have to. First was This Week with George Stephanopoulos, which never has George Stephanopoulos. It was Martha Raddatz. And first she interviewed Marco Rubio, who showed up on 3 of the 4 shows, but apparently he's not an evil enough liar for Fox News Sunday because they used Steve Witkoff instead. Boy, was that fun. Marco Rubio's general shtick was that we all expected too much from the summit in Alaska because of the 24-hour news cycle. Even though Trump made all kinds of promises and threats, his hands were basically tied because Zelensky wasn't there. And the ball is in Ukraine's court now to make a deal. He wants us to believe that Trump actually had several wins, made significant progress towards peace, and he deserves a lot of credit for attempting to make peace, considering this isn't his war. It started under Joe Biden. He also stated that we couldn't enforce any presidentially promised consequences on Putin, or he just wouldn't talk to us anymore. Marco Rubio did seem to get more reasonable as the day went on. He started on ABC and was very defensive and hostile with Martha Raddatz, but he seemed calmer with Christine Welker, and he was doing fine with Margaret Brennan of Face the Nation until she questioned him about the entourage of European and NATO leaders coming to tomorrow's meeting to keep Zelensky from being bullied like the last time they met in the Oval. He took real offense to it, calling it a lie, and said that he'd been negotiating with European leaders also, and that the White House actually invited them. I don't know what's true about that statement, but I am done giving Marco Rubio the benefit of the doubt. He has a long history of being a compulsive liar and hypocrite. One of this morning's shows aired a clip showing him in 2016 talking about how Putin's a liar and we shouldn't ever trust him. Why would we deal with somebody who just lies? Well, why would you deal with Trump then? But I digress. Of course, now he's just sucking Trump's ass too. In Trump world, truth is a hoax, and hoaxes are truth. When Margaret Brennan asked Rubio if Trump acknowledged the kidnappings of Ukrainian children, he said, yeah, it's unfortunate. The war is getting worse, not better. And that was it. You know, I never heard anyone use so many words to say absolutely nothing. Rubio and Witkoff both tried to play it off like Trump called an audible during the meeting. And even though he said all week that he wanted a ceasefire, he noticed during the meeting that he could actually have a peace agreement. So he didn't bother with the ceasefire because ceasefires are temporary and peace agreements are permanent. So while Rubio was using the more is less approach, Steve Witkoff was on Fox News Sunday with Shannon Bream, using the for everything good we should give praise to Trump because everything bad is Joe Biden's fault strategy. It was ridiculous. He was spewing so much bullshit. I could smell his breath through the TV screen. It literally smelled like ass. He said, this is epic what we achieved, and that's just a flat out fact. Never said what specifically they achieved. Trump won so much, he realized the peace deal would be better than a ceasefire. The fact is that Trump got what he wanted. He just didn't get anything for Ukraine or us. You know, he got Putin to say that the 2020 election was rigged by mail-in voting and that he would have never invaded Ukraine if Trump were still president. That might go a long way for Trump and his MAGA base to hear those words, because they're a bunch of Russia-loving fascist traitors. But it sounds like bullshit to me. Russian attacks have doubled since the inauguration. Putin has shown that he has absolutely no respect for Trump, and Trump has shown that he would gladly be Putin's bitch. Putin went back home and started bombing Ukraine immediately after the summit, as they took another ass whipping last night. Trump says he wants lasting peace. What Trump wants is the Nobel Peace Prize. And all this theatrical pro wrestling is just a campaign for it. Obama has one, and he's jealous of Obama, And that's what everything is always about. Next was Jake Sullivan, who appeared in 2 of the 4 shows. He rebutted Witkoff on Fox News Sunday and Rubio on ABC. He said that Trump did not achieve his stated goals, Putin did. Putin was accepted with a rolled out red carpet as a credible world leader on the international stage when he's actually a war criminal, a murderer, a kidnapper, and a pariah who should be living in exiled isolation. Chris Murphy rebutted Rubio on Meet the Press, saying, "What a great day for Russia. Putin got everything he wanted as a war criminal being legitimized on U.S. soil." He also said that the Democrats in the Senate have a list of sanctions to be imposed on Russia's trade partners, India and China, but Majority Leader John Thune refuses to bring them to the floor for a vote because he's sucking Trump's dick. He said Trump's number one priority is not bringing peace to Ukraine, it's keeping his friend Vladimir Putin happy. Colorado Democrat Representative Jason Crow said Friday was a historic embarrassment. Putin does not care about sanctions or anything else that Trump threatens to do because he's not a servant to constituents. He's a dictator. He doesn't care how many people die. 20,000 Russian soldiers died last month. The Ukraine-Russia war is just a meat grinder, and Russia has more meat to grind. I almost forgot Senator Eric Schmidt of Missouri as he took the everything is Biden's fault approach on steroids. Who would have thought that Josh Hawley is actually the rational senator from Missouri? Schmidt claimed that Biden actually started the Ukraine and Gaza wars. He brought up the disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal. Biden didn't have a plan for Ukraine. He just gave them our money and weapons. Biden silenced conservatives with big tech. I fought the Biden student loan forgiveness in the Supreme Court. Joe Biden looked the other way at the border. It was Biden, Biden, Biden. And then someone on Fox News Sunday said that Ukraine could be Trump's Afghanistan. Excuse me. Afghanistan is Trump's Afghanistan. It was Trump that sent Mike Pompeo to Doha, Qatar to surrender to the Taliban and have 5,000 Pakistani prisoners released. And it was also Trump who reduced our troop level to 2,500 right before he lost the election and left office. The withdrawal was sabotaged. Biden never claimed to be a superhero, yet he was expected to flap his arms and fly to Afghanistan to stop a suicide bomber from killing 13 Marines. Are you sure that wasn't part of the deal that Trump and Pompeo struck with the terrorists that they negotiated with and eventually surrendered to? After all, the Taliban were also invited to Camp David to celebrate the anniversary of 9/11 in 2020. They seem pretty fucking chummy to me. And I haven't even got to the fascist occupation of our own cities by our own military. West Virginia, South Carolina, and Ohio have all committed to sending National Guard troops to D.C. to help with the imaginary crime that's actually at a 30-year low. It's the National Guard walking the streets of D.C. like gangs because Trump doesn't want to see, quote, you and your boys drinking and smoking out here anymore, end quote. The D.C. AG has filed a suit to stop the occupation. That's all I got. If you speak the truth, you're always right. And just because it's funny, don't mean I'm kidding. See you in hell.